Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into ancient mysteries, biblical prophecies, and how they might connect to our modern world.
Today we're diving into a topic I've been warning about for a long time.
The mark of the beast. This comes straight from the book of Revelation in the New Testament, specifically chapter 13, verses 16 through 18. It's described as a mark placed on the right hand or the forehead, something that's required for anyone to buy or sell, and it's tied to the number 666. Over the centuries, people have interpreted this in all sorts of ways, from historical events to symbolic meanings and even future apocalyptic scenarios. Let's break it down factually.
Now, I once mentioned all of this coming into focus in a previous video called Indoor Generation right here on this channel. And I told you, it's happening. I also discussed it in my predictions on alurasangels.com in the Trumpet Blast column, where I warned about the pandemic and the virus, and how it was being used as a tool for control. Well, now all of those warnings are lining up with what that describes, and even scriptures and what science suggests. Today we're going deep, exploring how the 6 layers of the brain frequencies like 6 hertz and modern technology like 5G are a part of the larger plan to influence and potentially control us. So buckle up, because what I'm about to share might just make you see things a lot differently.
In a literal or historical view, some early Christians linked the mark to practices in the Roman Empire, like emperor worship or economic controls, where you had to show loyalty to the system to participate in trade. The number has been connected to Emperor Nero, because in Hebrew, gematria, a system where letters have numerical values, his name adds up to that figure. So, in this perspective, the mark was a real thing back in the 1st century, representing allegiance to a corrupt power structure that persecuted believers. On the symbolic or spiritual side, many Christian denominations see it as a metaphor for choosing worldly powers or sin over faithfulness to God. The beast itself symbolizes anti-Christian systems or ideologies that oppose divine principles. Placing the mark on the hand or forehead signifies actions and thoughts that align with these corrupt forces. And 666 represents human imperfection, falling short of the perfect number 7 that's often associated with God in the Bible. Then there's the futurist or apocalyptic interpretation, popular among some evangelical groups. They view the mark as something that's still to come, a literal event in the end times, where a global authority might enforce a physical identifier, like a tattoo, a microchip, or some biometric tech, to control commerce and track people. This ties into speculations about modern technologies. Though the Bible doesn't specify any particular form, and there's no concrete evidence linking today's gadgets directly to this prophecy. We also have cultural and conspiracy-based takes, where folks connect the mark to things like financial systems, barcodes, or even recent medical developments. These ideas often come from a place of skepticism towards centralized power, but they're not backed by mainstream biblical scholars or historians. Finally, the preterist view holds that the mark was fulfilled entirely in the 1st century Roman context, as a symbol or requirement for fitting into society while excluding those who wouldn't conform during times of persecution. The key facts here are that the number 666, or 616 in some ancient manuscripts, likely uses that gematria system, which was common in Jewish and Greco-Roman cultures. The biblical text itself doesn't detail a physical appearance for the mark, which is why interpretations vary so much. Most experts agree that Revelation is full of symbolic language meant to address spiritual and political realities of its time, rather than laying out a blueprint for specific future inventions. Now, as for me, I agree that the mark of the beast could very well be a system of mind control involving various mechanisms designed to deaden different areas of the brain.
Let's start with the brain, specifically the neocortex, the part that makes us human. The neocortex has 6 distinct layers, each playing a crucial role in how we think, feel, and perceive reality. In layer 1, the integrator, it connects signals across the brain. Layers 2 and 3, sensory processing and communication hubs. Layer 4, the sensory input station, visual, auditory, and tactile. Layers 5 and 6, the decision makers controlling movement, awareness, and conscious thought. The 6-layered structure is what enables complex thought, but it also makes us vulnerable to influence, especially when these layers are affected or manipulated. Now let's turn to scripture. Revelation 13, 16 through 18 describes the mark of the beast. It says, "And he causeth all, both small, great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark in their right hand or on their forehead." Notice the emphasis on the forehead, the very seat of the mind, the crown, and the hand, which represents action. This mark is more than just a physical token. It's a form of mind control, influencing thoughts and behaviors from within. Let's talk about brain waves. Our brains operate at different frequencies depending on our mental state. One key frequency is 6 hertz, sitting in the theta wave range. Theta waves are linked to daydreaming, light sleep, and suggestibility, states where the mind is more open to influence. So here's the startling part. Certain frequencies emitted by modern technology, especially 5G, potentially resonate with these low-frequency brain waves. And while 5G primarily works at ultra-high frequencies of 24 to 100, some signals, interference, or modulations could produce effects around 6 hertz. And I've been warning about this for years. There's a lot of 6 hertz going along with everything, even television and on your phone. In fact, I once mentioned all this in an earlier video, The Indoor Generation, and I was warning about how our environment was being reshaped to influence us. And in those predictions at Alura's Angels, I discussed how the pandemic and the virus were being used as tools of control, and now you can see it unfolding exactly. During recent years, especially during lockdowns, our screen time skyrocketed. More indoor time, more exposure to electromagnetic signals. Studies show excessive device use can disrupt sleep, impair focus, and cause feelings of fogginess or fatigue, even when physically rested. These low-frequency signals are subtly influencing the 6 layers of your cortex, making you less aware and more compliant. And don't forget about energy weapons that are going off all around us every day, and HAARP. Think about it. Have you ever experienced a wave of sudden sleepiness, mental fog for no reason? That's just not tiredness. It's your brain's theta waves being manipulated, nudging you into suggestibility. When society is in this fog, distracted, scrolling endlessly, critical thinking diminishes, resistance weakens, and people become easier to control. The idea of the mark might not just be a physical mark, but it's a mental state. It's designed to keep people tethered to the system, unable to operate freely. I've warned you before. This isn't a coincidence. Revelation's Mark of the Beast 666 isn't just a number. It's a symbol of imperfection, a system striving for total control. When you're foggy, distracted, and tuned into these frequencies, you follow commands without question. Everyone's walking around not paying attention anymore. And the real danger is that a system that controls not just actions but thoughts through technology, manipulation of brainwaves, and societal programming. That's the essence of the mark of the beast, control through compliance. The Bible associates an angel with the Antichrist, depicted as a government leader orchestrating widespread deception and chaos. This figure is linked to Abaddon, the angel of the bottomless pit in Revelations, symbolizing a destructive force leading people astray. Today, the world appears to be unraveling. Natural disasters strike relentlessly. Unemployment, homelessness are rising. Conflicts like the genocide in Gaza persist, and warfare divides humanity. Many are distracted with vanity, lust, competition, and the allure of the influencer culture, with false promises of progress. Within the brain, the ventricles, resembling angel wings or horns, distribute energy and hormones, influencing thought and behavior. This increasing prevalence of gender identity crisis doesn't only stem from societal agendas, but the disruptions in that brain region. This angel in the mind can symbolize a form of this mental manipulation, pushing individuals to conform to a deceptive system that glorifies itself, masking its lies.
And make people more compliant and willing to listen. This might include advanced telepathy based on electromagnetic energy, where thoughts and behaviors are influenced through wavelengths, much like how Wi-Fi signals bounce from one point to another. Minds could be controlled in a similar fashion, using these invisible waves to enforce obedience on a massive scale. Why else would people want to gain authority over the word telepathy? Or invent different things that make the blind see and the lame walk again, like Neurolink? You don't just need a chip to control wavelengths. As wavelengths come from your brain all the time or in the air, through the devices that we use. The chip is just a bonus, but you won't get everybody to do something like that willingly until propaganda and more mind control aligns with it to where it is needed, and a more authoritative system is set into place to enforce it.
But here's the good news. We're not powerless. In the book of Romans, chapter 12:2, it offers us a vital reminder. Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's what I teach with my spiritual teachings. You have the power to wake up, limit your screen time, spend more time outdoors in nature, pray, meditate, guard your mental environment. The ability to reclaim your mind and resist this influence is within reach. And remember, there's so much more to this subject, but this is just covering one layer of the truth. The mark of the beast, whether as a physical mark, frequency, it's something that people can recognize and oppose. If you stay alert, you stay aware, and protect your mind from other influences trying to manipulate your consciousness in what I call a shift, remember the power to wake up and take control is in your hands. Stay vigilant, stay prayerful, and stay free. Remember, the number 6 in biblical symbolism represents human imperfection. This is falling short of divine perfection. When amplified to 666, it signifies a system of total control and deception. Whether through technology, societal manipulation, or spiritual deception, this is a blueprint for enslavement. But you can resist it by staying spiritually and mentally aware. The book of Thessalonians warns that the Lord will withdraw his light from humanity, leaving people spiritually hollow. Within you, wavelengths of light and energy animate your brain, enabling you to function in this reality. This is your soul, carrying your thoughts, your memories, your wisdom beyond this life. But when manipulated or extinguished, what remains to carry forward? Nothing. The inner flame weakens and it fades into a metaphorical abyss. Strengthening your inner light through true illumination is vital, yet false teachers and spiritual opportunists abound, some even stealing my teachings for profit and vanity. So I urge you, heed my guidance and stay vigilant. Persist in doing good despite the world's challenges and never, ever surrender. If this message resonates with you, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced moments of mental fog or disconnect? Drop a comment below. And if you could, please share this video with someone who needs to wake up. If you're serious about uncovering the truth, hit the subscribe button. Let's keep exposing the deception together. And I have so much more to offer in my courses and on my blogs and in personal one-on-one instructing. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, the mark of the beast is mind control. It involves the 6 layers of your brain, a wavelength that is in the air all around you, used through weapons, electromagnetic fields and devices, as well as government leadership. There's also something else coming with the mark of the beast, which will go into this a little deeper. If you recall, I always say as above, so below, and so in between. So there's a lot of this subject to cover, and we will soon. But for now, this is just scratching the surface, and it does make a lot of sense. Why else were you pushed into your home and pushed into all these social media apps? How many social media apps do you really need? You know, everyone's jumping from Instagram to TikTok to Snapchat to Tumblr to Facebook to YouTube. And it's always the same content going around and around and around. But you have to question, why are they promoting these things? To lock you in. That's what they want. And locking you into television shows and even children with brain rot content on YouTube. It's sad, and they use wavelengths and colors and subliminal messages to do so. And everyone's walking around on their devices, not paying attention. Empathy lacks, and the soul dims down, and people are so disconnected. And then it's easy to throw agendas of propaganda out there to divide people in whatever way they want to. And that's exactly what's happening today. And the more hatred, the more contention, and the more natural disasters, and the more suffering out there in the world, and the more hardships in your own life are going to dim down that flame. And we can't allow that to happen, because that would be like sending you into that bottomless pit with Abaddon, as we discussed. So let's illuminate you with knowledge and continue being virtuous. Until next time.
So, which one do you guys agree with? The historical take, the symbolic one, the futuristic view, or something more like the mind control system I just described? What are your thoughts? Drop them in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want more deep dive like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.